Now, at this very moment, while you're reading these words, your heart is generating the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body. This is not a metaphor. This is not a poetic image. It is a scientific fact that changes everything you knew about the creation of your reality. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field that is 5,000 times more powerful than your brain's. 5,000 times. Think about it for a moment. All our lives, we believe that the brain is a command center, that it is there that our reality is born, that thought creates reality. And it's true, but this is only part of the truth. Because the heart, your physical heart beating in your chest right now, sends a signal into a quantum field so powerful that the brain just can't compete with it. Do you know what that means? This means that every time you feel an emotion, especially a heightened emotion, gratitude, love, joy, delight, your heart becomes a transmitter. It transmits a signal into a quantum field. And this signal carries information. It carries frequency. It carries the vibration of your inner state. And a quantum field responds. Always. No exceptions. Imagine a radio tower. It transmits a signal of a certain frequency, and wherever you are, if you tune your receiver to that frequency, you will receive that transmission. Your heart works exactly the same. When it emits a frequency of gratitude, the quantum field responds with events, people, circumstances that resonate with that frequency. When it emits a frequency of fear, the field responds accordingly. Most people live in reverse order. They wait for something external to happen to feel good. They are waiting for money to feel safe. They wait for a relationship to feel love. They wait for success to feel joy. But the quantum model of reality works differently. First, there's an internal state. First comes the emotion. First, there is a signal from the heart, and then comes the external reality that corresponds to this signal. Let's dig deeper. What is a quantum field? This is an ocean of opportunities, an ocean of potential. This is the invisible level of reality, where everything exists simultaneously in the form of a wave of pure potential. Every possible version of your future already exists there as an opportunity. Your job is not to create these opportunities. They're already there. Your job is to choose one of them with your vibration, your state of being. And this is where the heart becomes the key. Because the heart doesn't just feel emotions. It creates them. It generates them. And when you learn to consciously enter a state of heightened emotions without waiting for an external cause, you begin to transmit a signal to the quantum field before the event occurs. You begin to attract the future to you with the strength of your heart. Think of it like a magnet, but not an ordinary magnet that attracts metal. It is a quantum magnet that attracts experience. When your heart vibrates at the frequency of gratitude, it attracts things to be grateful for. When it vibrates at the frequency of love, it attracts love. When it vibrates at the frequency of abundance, it attracts abundance. But here's what is important to understand. The quantum field does not understand words. It does not respond to your thoughts of gratitude. It responds to the state of being gratitude, on a feeling of gratitude, to the emotion of gratitude that is generated in your heart and radiates into the field. You can repeat affirmations for hours. You can visualize your goals for days. But if your heart does not feel the emotion of an already fulfilled desire, if it does not generate the frequency of the future that you're trying to create, the signal is not sent. The transmitter does not work, and the quantum field does not respond. Therefore, ancient traditions have always spoken of the heart, not as a metaphor, but as a real tool for transformation. They knew what modern science is just beginning to understand. The heart is a portal. It is a bridge between your inner world and external reality. It is a transformer that transforms your inner state into an external experience. When you live from old emotions, when your heart constantly generates frequencies of fear, anxiety, indignation, resentment, you constantly send a signal from the past into the quantum field. And the field responds, bringing you more of the same. More reasons to be afraid. More reasons to worry. More reasons to be indignant. This is not a punishment. This is not the law of karma in the mystical sense. It's just quantum physics. This is the law of resonance. This is the principle according to which like attracts like not in form, but in frequency. Your heart's electromagnetic field interacts with the larger electromagnetic field around you, and they start to resonate. They begin to synchronize. Imagine that you enter a room full of tuning forks of different frequencies. When you hit one tuning fork, all the other tuning forks that have the same frequency start vibrating. This is a resonance. Your heart is a tuning fork that constantly vibrates. And the quantum field responds by activating those possibilities that resonate with your frequency. Now imagine that you can consciously change your frequency, that you can consciously enter a state of heightened emotion for no external reason. What will happen? Your heart will begin to send another signal, stronger signal, a signal that carries the frequency of the future, not the past. And this is what happens in the quantum field. It begins to collapse a wave of potential into a particle of reality that corresponds to your signal. It begins to organize events, synchronicities, meetings, opportunities around your new frequency. Not because you deserved it, not because you've been meditating long enough, but because this is the law. Think about your life right now. What emotions do you feel most often? What emotion has become your usual state of being? If it's fear, look at your life. How many situations are there in it that confirm that there is something to be afraid of? If it's a defect, look at your life. How many circumstances are there in it that confirm what is missing? If it's loneliness, look at your life. How much experience does it have that confirms that you are alone? This is not a coincidence. This is not bad luck. These are not external circumstances that shape your emotions. The opposite is true. Your emotions, your habitual state of the heart, are shaped by external circumstances. Your electromagnetic field attracted this experience. But here's the great news. If it's true, and it's true, then you can change your reality by changing your inner state. You can start transmitting another signal right now, at this moment. How? Through practice, through conscious choice, because of the decision to feel heightened emotions before an external cause appears. Imagine that your wish has already come true. Don't just think about it. Really feel it. How would your heart beat if you already had what you want? What kind of gratitude would you feel? What kind of love? What joy? What is the surprise before life? Feel it now, in my heart. Allow your heart to generate this emotion. Not for 5 seconds, not superficial, deeply, fully. Let this emotion fill every cell of your body. Let it become your state of being. When you do this, several things happen at the same time. First, your heart begins to generate a coherent signal. Coherence means that the heart rate becomes orderly, harmonious. And this coherence amplifies the electromagnetic field. It becomes more powerful. The signal becomes clearer. Secondly, your brain begins to synchronize with your heart. When the heart is in a coherent state, it sends a signal to the brain through the vagus nerve. and the brain responds, moving into another state of consciousness. Alpha waves, theta waves begin to dominate. This is the state in which you are most open to the quantum field. It is a state in which the former you, with its limitations and fears, retreats, and the new you begins to manifest. Thirdly, your body begins to change at the cellular level. Emotions are chemistry. When you feel fear, your body produces cortisol, adrenaline. When you feel gratitude, it produces oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. These chemicals affect gene expression. They literally change which genes are activated and which are turned off. You reprogram your body with your emotions. And finally, the quantum field responds. It always responds, because this is the law. Like attracts like in frequency. Your new electromagnetic field of the heart begins to interact with the field, and the field begins to organize a new reality around your new frequency. But here's what's important. It's not a one-time event. This is not a magic pill. You can't feel gratitude for 5 minutes once and expect things to change, because your body is used to living from old emotions. It remembers fear, anxiety, anger better than joy. It became your identity. It became who you are. Therefore, practice is required. Daily practice. A conscious choice to enter a state of heightened emotions again and again, even when the external reality has not yet changed. Even when your mind says, "These are meaningless dreams," nothing changes, because every time you consciously generate an increased emotion in your heart, you send a signal into the quantum field. And every signal matters. Each signal changes the field around you, gradually, step by step, wave after wave. And there comes a time when your body no longer lives in the past, when your heart no longer transmits the frequency of the old you, when your electromagnetic field has completely changed. And that's when the external reality begins to shift, sometimes gradually, sometimes suddenly, but it is shifting, always. People call it a miracle, but this is not a miracle. This is science. It is an understanding of how reality works at the quantum level. This is the understanding that your heart is not just a muscle that pumps blood. This is the most powerful electromagnetic field generator in your body. And this generator can change your life. Think about the most successful people you know. Not those who are just rich, but those who really live. What emotions do they radiate? Gratitude, capture, passion, joy. They don't wait for life to give them a reason to feel these emotions. They generate them within themselves, and their lives reflect that. This is not a coincidence. This is not luck. This is not a privilege. This is the law, a law that works for everyone, without exception. Your heart generates a field. This field interacts with the quantum field. The quantum field responds with events that match your frequency. Now ask yourself, what kind of reality are you creating right now? What signal is your heart sending at this very moment? If you feel anxious about the future, you send an alarm signal, and the quantum field responds with more reasons for alarm. If you feel resentment about the past, you're sending a signal from the past, and the field corresponds with more of the same. But if you stop right now and consciously choose to feel gratitude, love, joy, not because something external has happened, but simply because you can, just because it's your choice, just because you understand the science of how it works, everything will change. Your heart will begin to generate another field. Your brain is in sync with this new field. Your body will begin to change at the cellular level. And the quantum field will begin to organize the new reality around your new frequency. This is not philosophy. This is not positive thinking. This is quantum physics. This is neuroscience. This is the electrophysiology of the heart. This is the science of how your inner becomes your outer one. Imagine that you wake up every morning and the first thing you do before checking your phone, before thinking about your problems, before your mind starts telling you the story of your life, you connect with your heart. You put your hand on your chest. You feel his beating, and you consciously generate an emotion of gratitude, not for something specific, just gratitude as a state of being. You feel it in your heart. You let it grow. You allow it to expand. You feel how it fills your chest, your stomach, your arms, your legs. You feel it radiating from your heart in all directions. You do this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, every morning. No exceptions. What will happen? In the first days, nothing will change from the outside. Your mind will resist. You will say, "It's a waste of time. I have things to do. I have problems that need to be solved." Because you understand science. You know that every time you generate that emotion, you're sending a signal into the quantum field. And every signal matters. After a week, you will begin to notice changes in yourself. Your mind will become calmer. Your body will start to feel different. Maybe you'll sleep better. Perhaps you will have more energy. It is possible that things that normally cause stress will no longer cause this reaction. After a month, you will begin to notice changes in your life. Small synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, meeting the right people at the right time. Things that seemed heavy suddenly become easy. Doors that have been closed begin to open. After 3 months, your life will start to look different. Not because you worked harder, not because you fought or raped, but because you changed the signal. You began to live with a new emotion, and the quantum field responded. This is not magic. This is not mysticism. This is the mechanics of quantum reality. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body. When you feel heightened emotions, this field is sent to the quantum field, and the quantum field organizes events that correspond to your frequency. But here's what is important to understand. The quantum field cannot distinguish real experience from imaginary experience. When you remember a traumatic event from the past, your heart generates the same electromagnetic field as when it happened. For your body, for your heart, for the quantum field, this is happening now. You live in the past, in the present moment, and the quantum field responds, bringing you more experiences that match that frequency. But the opposite is also true. When you imagine your desired future and allow your heart to feel the emotion of a wish already fulfilled for your body, for your heart, for the quantum field, this is also happening now. You live in the future in the present moment, and the quantum field responds, bringing you experiences that match that frequency. This means that you have a choice. Every moment, every day, you can continue to live from old emotions from the past, and the quantum field will continue to bring you more of the same. Or you can consciously choose a new emotion, an emotion of the future, and the quantum field will begin to organize a new reality. The key is not a force. Do not fight. Do not try to change the external. The key is to change the internal. Change the emotion. Change the signal your heart sends. Because when the signal changes, the external one changes automatically. It can't help but change. This is the law. Think of your heart as an access point to the quantum field, like a portal between the visible and the invisible, as a bridge between your inner world and external reality. When you understand it, when you really understand it, not just intellectually, but you feel it in every cell of your body, everything changes. You're no longer a victim of circumstances. You don't wait for something external to change to feel better. You understand that you have the power to create, not with your mind, not of their own free will, but with your heart, your state of being, with your emotion. And that's the most liberating truth you can realize. Because it means it doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It doesn't matter what your present looks like. You can start sending another signal right now, at this moment, and the quantum field will begin to respond to your new signal. How long will it take? It depends on many factors. It depends on how deeply you feel the new emotion. It depends on how consistent you are in your practice. It depends on how much you believe not in external reality, but in your inner strength. But one thing I can tell you with certainty, if you do it every day, if you do it with your practice, with your lifestyle, change is inevitable. Because this is the law. Your heart's electromagnetic field interacts with the quantum field, and the quantum field always corresponds. Think of people who have experienced spontaneous remissions from incurable diseases. What happened? Their heart began to generate a different frequency. Perhaps they decided to let go of a long-standing grudge. Perhaps they felt a deep appreciation for life. Perhaps they felt love so deeply that their bodies could no longer hold the old pattern of illness. Their heart's electromagnetic field has changed, and their bodies responded. Cells began to function differently. Genes began to be expressed differently, and the disease disappeared. Not because there was some kind of external treatment, but because the internal state has changed. This is no exception. This is an example of how the system works. Your heart generates a field. This field affects your body. This field interacts with the larger field around you. When a field changes, everything changes. Now imagine that you apply this principle not only to health, but to every aspect of your life, to your relationship, to his career, towards your goal, to your abundance. What will happen? You will start living from a different place, not from a place of marriage, but from the place of abundance, not from a place of fear, but from a place of love, not from a place of anxiety about the future or regret about the past, but from a place of presence in this moment, filled with heightened emotion. And when you live from this place consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, your life is transformed. Not because you tried harder, not because you were luckier, but because you changed the signal. You started transmitting another frequency, and the quantum field responded. This is science. It's an art. This is a spiritual practice. It's all together. This is the understanding that you are not separated from the quantum field. You are a part of it. Your heart is the point where your consciousness connects to the field. This is where the invisible becomes visible, where potential becomes reality. Every time you feel gratitude, love, joy, without waiting for an external reason, you are using the most powerful creative force in the universe. The power of your heart, the power of heightened emotion, the power of conscious choice to live from the future, not from the past. And the best thing about it is that it is available to everyone. No need to be elected. You don't need to have a special gift. You don't need to meditate in a cave for years. Only one thing is needed: a solution, the decision to start feeling different, the decision to allow your heart to generate a new frequency, the decision to trust the process, even when the external reality has not yet changed. Because it will change. It is always changing. This is the law. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body. When you feel heightened emotions, this field sends a signal into the quantum field. And the quantum field organizes events, circumstances, people, opportunities that correspond to your frequency. This is not a promise. This is not hope. This is the law of nature, as real as gravity, as reliable as a sunrise. Your job is not to believe in it. Your job is to practice. Feel, allowing your heart to generate a new emotion, day after day, moment by moment. And when you do it, when you really do it, not superficially, but deeply, not occasionally, but consistently, you become living proof that it works. Your life becomes a testament to the strength of the heart. Forces of heightened emotion, the forces of conscious creation. Get started now. At this point, put your hand on your heart, feel its beating, and choose an emotion. Gratitude, love, joy, not because something happened, and simply because you can, just because it's your strength, simply because your heart is waiting for your decision to generate a new frequency. Feel it now. Let this emotion fill your heart. Let it expand. Let it become your state of being. And know that at this very moment, your heart generates an electromagnetic field. This field sends a signal into the quantum field, and the quantum field listens. It always listens, and it always responds. This is your strength. This is your gift. This is your birthright. Use it every day, every moment, and watch your life begin to reflect your heart rate. Because this is the law. This is the way. This is the truth about who you are and what you are capable of. Your heart knows. It always knew. Now it's time for you to remember. When you start living from this new understanding, when you really integrate this truth into every cell of your being, something fundamental happens. You cease to be a passenger in your life. You stop reacting to the outside. You become a creator, not in some mystical sense, but in a very real, very concrete sense. Think about it. Most people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is check their phone. They immediately connect to the outside world. News, notice, email, social networks. And what's going on? Their brain begins to react to all this information. Their emotions begin to form based on what is happening out there. Someone wrote something unpleasant. Emotion, something negative in the news. Emotion, some kind of problem at work. Emotion, and even before they get out of bed, their heart is already generating a familiar electromagnetic field. Field of stress, field of alarm, reactivity field. And this field sends a signal to the quantum field. Give me more reasons to stress. Give me more reasons to worry. They don't understand what they're doing. They think they're just reacting to reality. But in reality, they create more of the same reality with their reactions. Their heart generates the field. This field interacts with the quantum field. And the quantum field gives them more of the same. It's a cycle. The external affects the internal. The internal creates more than the external. And the cycle repeats. Day after day, year after year, all my life, people live in this cycle without realizing that it is their heart that supports it. But when you understand the science, when you understand that your heart is not just an organ, but the most powerful transmitter in your body, you can break that cycle. You can choose another. Not tomorrow. Not when circumstances change. Now, imagine that instead of checking your phone, you spend the first 15 minutes of your day connected to your heart. You're sitting, you breathe, you put your hand on your chest, and you consciously begin to generate an emotion of gratitude. Not for something specific, just gratitude as a field, as a vibration, as a state of being. At first, it may seem artificial. Your mind will say, what should I be grateful for? Look at my life. Look at my problems. Because the mind lives in the past. The mind is a record of everything that has happened to you. He cannot create a new future. He can only project the past forward. But your heart is not your mind. Your heart has access to the quantum field. Your heart can sense the future before it happens. Your heart can generate an emotion that does not yet have a cause in your current reality. And when it does, when your heart generates the emotion of the future in the present moment, magic happens. Not mystical magic, but quantum magic. Your electromagnetic field changes. Instantly, at this very moment, it begins to emit a different frequency. And this frequency carries information. She carries an intention. It carries the pattern of a new reality. And the quantum field receives this information. Now, here's what's important to understand about the quantum field. It's not linear. It does not work in time the way we understand time. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist simultaneously. The past, the present, the future, all this is here and now in the form of potential. Your job is not to create the future. It already exists as an opportunity. It's your job to choose it, activate it, collapse a wave of potential into a particle of reality. How do you do it? Your state of being, with its vibration, with its electromagnetic field of the heart. When your heart generates a frequency of gratitude, it resonates with that version of the future where there is much to be grateful for. And the quantum field begins to collapse precisely this potential into your reality. This does not happen instantly in the physical world, because the physical world has a delay. There is a period between sowing and harvesting, between the signal and the response, between cause and effect. And it is in this interval that most people lose faith. They start practicing. They feel grateful for a few days. And when nothing changes from the outside, they say, "See, it doesn't work," to the old frequency. And the quantum field receives a new signal. Nothing ever changes. It's impossible. But if you understand the delay, if you understand that the quantum field is already responding, but physical reality takes time to reorganize, you can stay in the state. You can continue to generate emotion. You can trust the process, not blindly, and reasonably, because you understand science. Think of it as gardening. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up the next day to see if it grows. You trust the process. You keep watering. You continue to care. And after some time, sprouts appear. Then the leaves. Then flowers. Then the fruits. Your heart is a seed. Your emotion is water. The quantum field is the soil. And when you keep watering the seeds with the right emotion, they can't help but grow. This is the law of nature. But here's what happens to most people. They plant seeds today. They dig it up tomorrow to check. Plant it again the day after tomorrow. Dig up every other day. And then they say, "See, nothing grows." They don't understand that the problem is not in the seeds. The problem is that they do not allow the process to unfold. Therefore, patience is not passive waiting. This is active faith. It is the understanding that you have already planted the seeds every time your heart generates an increased emotion. And now it's your job to keep going. Do not check. No doubt. Do not waver. Continue. Every morning, every practice, every moment when you consciously choose to feel different is watering. It's a concern. This is seed nutrition. And one fine moment, when you least expect it, sprouts appear. Little synchronicity, an unexpected phone conversation, a chance meeting, doors that open where there were none. And if you continue, if you don't go back to the old emotions, if you stay in a new state, the sprouts become plants. Plants become flowers. Flowers become fruits. and suddenly your life looks completely different. Not because you fought, not because you were in control, but because you allowed. You have allowed your heart to generate a new frequency, and you trusted the quantum field to do its job. Now let's talk about coherence. This word is very important. Coherence means that all parts of the system work together, synchronized, harmoniously. When your heart is in a coherent state, its heart rate becomes orderly. The heart rate graph shows beautiful, smooth waves, not chaotic, sharp peaks. And here's what's interesting. Heart coherence affects brain coherence. When your heart is coherent, your brain begins to produce alpha waves. This is a state of relaxed attention, the state in which you're most creative, the most intuitive, the most open to new opportunities. But that's not all. The coherence of the heart also affects the coherence of your electromagnetic field. When the heart is coherent, the field becomes stronger, purer, more powerful. It is like the difference between the scattered light of a light bulb and the focused beam of a laser. Both are light, but the laser has coherence. All waves go in unison, and so it can cut through steel. Your heart can be such a laser. When you generate an increased emotion with coherence, with clarity, with intention, your electromagnetic field becomes extremely powerful. It can cut through the chaos of the quantum field and create a clear pattern, clear intention, a clear reality. How do you achieve coherence? Through concentration, through presence, because of the full dedication to this moment. When you're practicing, when you're connecting with your heart and generating emotion, don't do it mechanically. Don't do it thinking about anything else. Be here, fully, your breath, your heart, your emotion, nothing else. When your attention is fully present, when your heart, your mind, and your body work together, you achieve coherence. And in this state of coherence, your electromagnetic field becomes so powerful that it can change not only your inner reality, but also your external reality. There are studies that show that people in a coherent heart state can affect DNA in vitro at a distance, just by your intention, just with your heart. They do not touch DNA. They do not add any chemicals. They just sit in a coherent state and focus the intention, and the DNA changes. It collapses or unfolds depending on the intention. If your heart can affect the DNA in a test tube, imagine what it can do to your own body, with your own life, with a quantum field around you. When you are in a state of coherence, when your heart generates a powerful, pure, focused electromagnetic field, you literally reorganize matter. Not metaphorically, literally. Therefore, the quality of your practice matters. Not just presence, not just passing movements. A full, deep, coherent presence. When you feel gratitude, feel it so deeply that every cell in your body resonates with it. When you feel love, feel it so fully that your heart expands, as if it could encompass the entire universe. This is not an exaggeration. This is not romanticism. This is quantum mechanics. The intensity of the emotion determines the strength of the signal. The coherence of an emotion determines the purity of the signal. And the sequence of the emotion determines the duration of the signal. All three matter. Intensity without coherence is chaos. How to shout in all directions. A lot of energy, but no direction. Coherence without intensity is a weak signal. Like a whisper in a storm. There is direction, but no force. And without consistency, even if you have both intensity and coherence, the signal is interrupted. Like a radio transmission that keeps disappearing. A quantum field cannot respond to a signal that is constantly changing. Therefore, your practice should be intense, coherent, and consistent. Feel deeply. Feel clearly. Feel regularly. Day after day. No exceptions. No excuses. Because every moment when you don't generate a new emotion is the moment when you go back to the old one. There is no neutral. Your heart always generates some kind of field. The only question is which one. Now let's talk about the point of attraction. In physics, there's a concept called critical mass. The water heats up, heats up, heats up, and nothing changes until it reaches 100 degrees. And suddenly she turns into a couple. Instantly. Fully. The same thing happens with your transformation. You practice. You generate new emotions. You send new signals into the quantum field. And at first it seems that nothing changes. Your outer life looks the same. Your circumstances are the same. Your problems are the same. But inside, there's a transformation. Every practice adds energy. Each new emotion changes your electromagnetic field. Each signal into the quantum field reorganizes the invisible reality. You don't see it, but it happens. Like water heated between 50 and 60 to 70 degrees. She's still water, but it is getting closer and closer to the point of transformation. And suddenly, when you least expect it, you reach a critical mass. Your electromagnetic field has completely changed. Your body no longer lives in the past. Your heart generates a completely different frequency, and the quantum field responds massively. Not gradually, massively. Suddenly, everything shifts. The door opens out of nowhere. Opportunities come out of nowhere. People come into your life. Circumstances are leveling off. What seemed impossible becomes possible. What has been closed is revealed. What was difficult becomes easy. People call it breakthrough. But this is not a breakthrough. This is a critical mass. This is a natural result of consistent practice. You have reached a point where your new electromagnetic field has become stronger than the old one, where your new emotion has become more familiar than the old one, where your new self has completely replaced the old. And at this point, the external cannot but change, because the external is always a reflection of the internal. Always. No exceptions. There may be a delay, but there cannot be a match. This is the law. Therefore, do not give up in front of a critical mass. Don't stop at 99 degrees. Don't say it doesn't work right before conversion. Go ahead, even when nothing seems to change. Especially when nothing seems to change. Because it is then, in the darkest hours before dawn, that the greatest transformation occurs. Your body lets go of old patterns. Your mind lets go of old beliefs. Your heart lets go of old emotions. This can be uncomfortable. This can be difficult, but it is necessary. You can't become new without letting go of the old. You can't generate a new frequency while still holding on to the old one. Therefore, trust the process. Trust the delay. Trust transformation, even when it is uncomfortable. Know that every practice matters. Every emotion you consciously generate changes your field. Every signal you send into the quantum field reorganizes your reality. And go on to critical mass before the transformation, until the moment when your inner has completely changed and the external cannot help but follow it. Because your heart is the most powerful transmitter. Your heart generates a field 5,000 times more powerful than your brain. And when you learn to use this power consciously, consistently, coherently, you will become a master of your reality. Not a controller, not a manipulator, a master. Those who understand the laws and work with them. Those who know that the internal creates the external. Always. And that's the most liberating truth you'll ever realize. Because it means that your life is in your hands. More precisely, in your heart. Your heart is beating right now. Feel it. This is not just a physiological process. This is your connection with the quantum field. This is your portal to the new reality. This is your strength. Every beat is an impulse. Every pulse is a signal. Each signal shapes your future. Not tomorrow, not ever. Now, at this very moment, you can continue to live as before, reacting to the external, waiting for something to change to feel different, letting circumstances dictate your emotions, allowing the past to shape your future. It's a choice, and this is a completely normal choice. Or you can choose another. You can become a living laboratory, a live experiment, living proof that it works. You can start right now, not tomorrow morning, not after you finish reading this. Now, put your hand on your heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel its beating and choose an emotion, any heightened emotion. Gratitude for something small, love for someone close. The joy of the simple fact that you are alive. Don't analyze. Don't think. Just feel it. Let this emotion grow. Let it fill your heart. Allow it to expand into the chest, into the stomach, into the whole body. Let it become a field around you. Feel how it radiates from each cell. Stay in this state for a few more moments. Take your time. This is not a race. This is not a task that needs to be done. This is your homecoming to the power you've always had, but may have forgotten. At this moment, your heart generates an electromagnetic field. It sends a signal into the quantum field, and the quantum field listens. It always listens. It does not judge. It does not evaluate. It simply responds to the frequency you transmit. Now, imagine that you do this every morning, before the mind starts telling you old stories, before the body begins to feel old emotions, before the world begins to demand your attention. 15 minutes, just you and your heart, just you and the quantum field, just you and the new reality waiting for your signal. Imagine that you're doing this for more than one day, more than 1 week, and months, year. Imagine how your body changes, how your mind changes, how your life changes. Not because you worked harder, not because you fought or controlled, but because you changed the signal. You started living from another place. This is not a promise of instant results. This is not a guarantee that everything will be easy. This is an invitation to travel. Travel from the old you to the new. From reacting to creating, from victim to master. And on this journey, there will be moments of doubt. There will be days when it seems that nothing works. There will be temptations to return to the familiar, even if the familiar is suffering, because the brain loves the familiar, even if the familiar kills you. But if you continue, if you stay true to your practice, if you trust the process even when you don't see results, if you let your heart guide you, not your mind, everything will change. It is not possible what will change. Unlikely and inevitably, because this is the law. Your inner creates your outer. Your heart generates a field. This field interacts with the quantum field, and the quantum field organizes your reality according to your frequency. You don't have to believe it. Beliefs are for things you don't know. But now you know. You understand science. You understand the mechanics. Your job is not to believe. Your job is to practice. Feel. Be. And every time you do that, every time your heart generates a heightened emotion for no external reason, you're doing something revolutionary. You break the connection between the outside world and your inner state. You're freeing yourself from the past. You choose the future. You become supernatural, not in a mystical sense, but literally. You're stepping outside of your old nature. You create a new one. This is your birthright. This is your strength. This is your truth. Not because you're special, but because you have a heart. And this heart is the most powerful transmitter in your body. 5,000 times more powerful than your brain. Use it, not tomorrow. Now, feel the heightened emotion right at this moment. Allow your heart to generate the frequency of the future. Allow your electromagnetic field to send a new signal. Allow the quantum field to begin to organize the new reality. And know that every moment spent in this state is not wasted time. This is the most valuable investment you can make. Investment in your future. Investment in your life. Investment in your strength. Your heart is waiting. The quantum field is waiting. Your new life is waiting. Not somewhere out there in the future. Here, now, in the form of a potential that is ready to collapse into reality the moment you start transmitting the right signal. Start. Today. Now. At this very moment. Put your hand on your heart. Feel its power. And let it create your life. Because it's not just an organ. It's not just a muscle. This is your connection with an infinite field of possibilities. This is your key to quantum reality. This is your portal to the life you dream of. Use it day after day, moment by moment, beating after beating, and watch your life transform. Not by magic, not by miracle, but by the scientific law that has always been here, which has always worked, which was waiting for you to open it. Now you know. Now you understand. Now it's time to live from this knowledge. Your heart is beating. Feel? It's not just the rhythm of life. This is the rhythm of creation. This is the pulse of your new reality. Let him guide you. Trust him. Follow him. Because your heart knows. It always knew. And now you know too.